There's another trade. George Pickens isn't the only one. And this one started the day off. This one was we have come so far. we have gone every way possible. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have looked in every direction they could possibly look in to say, we need a quarterback. We have to find a quarterback. Our quarterback has to be out there somewhere, and it's not Mason Rudolph. I think that most likely outcome of the Steelers quarterback situation is 2 days before before training camp, the Steelers sign Aaron Rodgers, putting one final stamp on the FU to Mason Rudolph. That's how I view it. And that's what if you asked me today what I predict happens at quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers over the next 3 months, I would say Aaron Rodgers signs the week before training camp, big FU to Mason Rudolph, and the Steelers go into the season with Aaron as their guy after hyping up Mason all spring long, because that's what they're going to do. But Diana Rossini of The Athletic tends to think that come Saturday afternoon, that might not be the case. That Aaron Rodgers might be off the table, that the Pittsburgh Steelers might be moved in a different direction, another veteran direction, a direction that I will be very honest with you, I am very against for the Pittsburgh Steelers. She said, quote this in her NFL Give It All Away mailbag today, quote, the Browns, Steelers, and possibly Vikings. How have we gotten here with the Vikings again? Could be involved in a Kirk Cousins trade. Minnesota is looked at as the least likely scenario given its preference for J.J. McCarthy, and that Cousins would need to sign off on a trade he is involved in. It's believed that Cousins would be against any trade that involves sending him to a situation involving a young quarterback similar to the situation he faced in Atlanta last year. I think the Vikings are just being tossed out there constantly just to keep their head in the loop. Just to, hey, we're here. We love JJ, but it's the Steelers with George Pickens. We love George. But if you want to call an offer as a first round pick, we're not going to hang up the phone on you. We're going to at least talk it out. That's what the Vikings seem like they're doing here with JJ McCarthy. We love JJ, but make sure that our name's in on the Kirk thing and on the Aaron Rodgers thing, and doesn't leave the Aaron Rodgers thing. When it comes to the Steelers and Kirk Cousins, I haven't heard that there's a bunch of interest in Kirk Cousins in the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll start there. I think that's the most important part. I have not heard that the Steelers are sitting around saying we have to make a trade for Kirk. I have heard that the Steelers are still very confident that they're going to end up with Aaron Rodgers at some point. That's still my guess, but they have no idea because they haven't spoken to him since the Pat McAfee show, and they have no idea what's going on. They knew everything that happened. They knew the inner circle, dealing with a really terrible situation, trying to handle his personal life outside of football, not totally sure how it's going to shake down, but still confident that when it's all said and done, Aaron's going to want to come back to football and play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's where the Steelers stand. But they're also very open to figuring this thing out. That's the other side of this, is Aaron makes a lot of sense until he doesn't. And the Steelers have hit a point where they're at a crossroads where they're running out of options. And Joe Flacco didn't make more sense than Aaron Rodgers. Carson Wentz doesn't make more sense than Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson didn't make more sense than Aaron Rodgers. Mason Rudolph doesn't make more sense than Aaron Rodgers. Maybe Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart does, but we'll get there tomorrow night. For today, maybe it's Kirk Cousins. And maybe Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons finally hit a point on Saturday afternoon where the Falcons say, all right, we're ready. We're ready to move on. Let's figure this thing out. Let's get rid of you. Let's move you somewhere for something. I will say this. I do not view Kirk Cousins as a Super Bowl quarterback. I never did view Kirk Cousins as a Super Bowl quarterback. I don't sit here and say if the Pittsburgh Steelers, I will say the Pittsburgh Steelers could somehow, in a very slim chance, but it's there, doors cracked at least, pull it off with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's cracked with Mason Rudolph almost at all. I don't think it's cracked with Kirk Cousins almost at all. I just don't think you pull it off with Kirk Cousins. Super Bowl, Kirk Cousins don't seem to mesh. Doesn't seem to be two words that should follow each other. But the Pittsburgh Steelers might look at it and say, what's the price tag? On day 3 of the draft, it better be 4th or 5th round pick minimum. What are we paying for Kirk Cousins? 3rd day of the draft, it better be $10 million. And if they're going to give him up for everything but $10 million this season, maybe you got to pay him next year, but $10 million this season and a 4th or a 5th round pick, maybe this year, maybe next year, I wouldn't rule out the Steelers thinking about it. I wouldn't rule out the Steelers having conversations about it. I wouldn't rule out the Steelers saying, you know what, let's do it. Bring in Kirk Cousins. I wouldn't be shocked by it. Do I think they're actively pursuing him? No, but I also think that they fully understand they don't have a quarterback and they need to find a quarterback. Everybody needs a quarterback. You can't play football without a quarterback. The Steelers need to go out and get one. And they think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, but I'm telling you, GMs talk around the league constantly. There's always conversation happening. What do you want for this guy? Hey, let's talk this guy. What about this? What are you interested in here? What about the first round? What positions are you looking at? So that I can make sure that, I am also looking at those positions. I have to understand these things. What are they looking at? All these conversations happen constantly. If Atlanta is floating out there saying Kirk's available and we'll give him up cheap, Omar's going to make a phone call. Art Rooney's going to say, go get a veteran. Mike Tomlin's going to say, this is better than Mason Rudolph. I'm not saying I agree with any of it. I'm just saying that's what might happen. And in a war room where you're moving fast and decisions need to be made, and Shedeur Sanders is off the board at 9, and Jackson Dart's off the board because the New York Giants just jumped you at 20. Well, looks like you need a quarterback. Maybe that quarterback is, again, Kirk Cousins. I'd give up a 5th round pick. If you told me you had to trade for Kirk Cousins, if you told me you had to make it happen, I'd give up a 5th round pick and I'd pay no more than $15 million this year. I think they could afford $15 million without it even affecting a single thing. You don't even have to worry about it. It's barely on your pocketbook. You're good. Like there's nothing there that moves the needle at all. 5th round pick for Kirk Cousins is nothing. You could take a shot on a veteran quarterback for a 5th round pick. You could do that. That's all I'd give up for Kirk Cousins. But the Steelers are in. To some degree, the Steelers are in on this situation where they need a quarterback. And I'm telling you, Kirk Cousins, where we stand right now, they might be that quarterback. They might be that quarterback. It's crazy to sound or to say, but they might be that quarterback. Now,